Hi everyone, welcome back. So today I kind of wanted to touch base on the cards and go over a few little details with them. So what we have here is I took the time to separate 3 of my decks to kind of show you what the cards look like, what the 3 different decks look like. And so with the Raider White, so we're gonna start with, there is the Major Arcana, which is 22 cards. And it basically starts off with the Fool and it ends with the World. What this does is it basically tells you the story of this person that's beginning a journey, and the World is when he closes the cycle. This can be any life lesson, any type of life lesson. So going to school can be one, learning your trade can be one. So anything like that is just you start the beginning of the journey, the end of the journey. Okay. And then, sorry, that's my dog. Then we have the Minor Arcana, which is the 4, which is divided into 4 suits, and we have them here. So we start with the ones, and this is what they look like. I showed you this because this is the more traditional that you will see, the most traditional imagery that you will see. And then this one kind of has the same thing. It shows you kind of the same thing, but it is a little different. And then this last one, this one's Tarot del Toro, and I'll talk a little bit about this one. This is why I wanted to show it to you, because most of the time you'll hear people say you don't have to necessarily know the meanings of the cards, but in the case of this deck, it's one of the ones that I rarely use because I'm still trying to memorize all 78 cards. It's hard to, so don't feel bad. But this one doesn't show any imagery. This is kind of how the old decks used to be. They don't show you any imagery. They just go two of wands, 3 of wands. I have the 6 here. I'm missing 4. Oh wait, oh, this one does have it. Oh, that's weird. So I'll show you why it's weird. So the 4, 5, 6, you know, so you do have to know the meanings of these cards. And then you have your courtship cards. I'll show you why it's weird. In the Major Arcana, you start with the Fool, Magician, 2, 3, and then you have the 4. They used to do this a lot in the old tarot cards, and it was because when people used to make them, they confused the 4 and the 6, so they meant to do the 6 and they put it as a 4, or they meant to do the 4 and they put it as a 6. So they changed it to be like this. This one also has the Death card. Doesn't have a name because usually it was such an ominous card in the tarot card deck before that they thought that it was, I don't know, that they didn't want to name it. So, but you can see the 14 here is the same. So just wanted to show you that. Either way, I wanted to show you this one just because with this one it is imperative that you know the meanings. So like I said, I don't use this one very often, just when I feel like I need to use it. I love this deck, but I don't feel as bonded as I do with like this one in particular. I love this deck. It's probably the one I use the most. So there's that. So we have the wands. The wands are your kind of like that emotion, not the emotion, the first spark, like kind of when you turn the stove, you know, that first little spark when it's a gas stove that turns everything on. That's your wands. It's kind of like that inspiration. It's surrounded by creativity, and talking about fire, it is represented by the element of fire. So it is, if you're interested in the zodiac, it is your fire sign. So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. So it's represented by that. Then you have your cups, which your cups, you can see it here, they look different. I mean, they look similar but different. Your cups is your emotion. Like I said, this one's a little different. I love it though. But it's represented by emotions. It's your water signs if you're interested in the zodiac, which is your Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And you can see it here. It's pretty easy to know that it's kind of like emotions, because normally they're like overflowing and very flowy, very cute, and you know. And then you have your swords. Swords are the element of air, which is which is about action, cutting through illusion. It can be a lot of like intelligence, emotional intelligence, or reason, more logic. So a lot of times I think of them as like head over heart instead of heart over head. So it's a lot of that. Like I've always said, I used to think, because of the imagery on these cards, I used to think that they were the saddest ones, like the more negative meanings. They're not. It's just I had to learn the deeper meaning behind the cards. But look at that. I mean, come on. So anyway, air signs, you're Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And then we'll talk about like the numbers and stuff in a little bit. You can see this one too. It's super cool. Lastly, we have your earth signs, which would be your Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo. And this is about manifestation. So you had your ones, which is kind of like the spark, right? Then you have your emotions. So kind of like the hunger, like I'm hungry, I'm gonna cook something, right? So it's your emotion, like the emotion behind the spark. Then you have the Ace of Swords, the swords, which I don't know if I said it, but it's about action. So it's putting that logical plan in place. So it's about action, and it would be like actually preparing the meal. And then you have your Pentacles, like the earth element, which is more your material gains, your physical body, or even like basically the results, the manifestation of what you just created. So what you end up with is a meal that you get to enjoy, right? Here are your Pentacles. You can see the difference in the cards. So it's this one, a lot of times people would say that talks about finances, monetary gain, but it's not necessarily just about that. You have to learn to read into the energy of the reading. So there you have it with the cards. Now let's talk a little bit about the numbers. Just this one. So one thing that I want you to know is that this is kind of the same as this, the major arcana. So you start with the beginning, right? And you end the cycle at the world. This is kind of the same thing. The biggest difference within this one is there's less cards. And then your cycle actually ends at the 10. Which is this one. This courtship cards normally represent like personality traits, or they can represent kind of like where you're at in your transition within the suit. So the page would be the beginner, the knight would be the intermediate, and then these two would be the expert, which one would be the feminine and the other one the masculine. One cool way that you can think about learning the cards is odd numbers are normally about change, about like changing something drastic, about transformation, whereas your even numbers are always about balance. So you start, this is the beginning of something, you have a choice, but it's balanced, and then you make your choice, you end up with this, but then you end up you end up with this, and you have to make another choice to end up balanced again. And you can think of this as like the person ends up balanced, but there's some greediness growing, and that's why he becomes miserly. And you will learn this later. We'll go over this in another video. But miserly, so he learns that by being greedy he didn't get anything out of it, so this goes into transformation mode to become balanced again. You can see the balance given, he has a lot, so he's given out. And then there's another change. You see his face, he has a lot of abundance, but he's not happy, so he has to learn to become balanced again. Finally, this is nearing the end of the cycle. There's a lot of abundance and then happiness, right? We won't go over the swords because I don't like those. But that's kind of how you think of it. It's always, you start with the transformation with the uneven numbers and with the odds, and then you move into balance and then balance until you complete the cycle at the 10. Sorry, at the 10. And then these guys always have personality traits attached to them. But then you also think of it as this person is moving along in their journey: beginner, intermediate, advanced, right? That's kind of how you can think of it, and then we'll discuss more about this later. Normally, people in the Pentacles have a more grounded sense of self. We'll also go into the reverses. We can look into that too if you're interested. But that is all that I have for today. I kind of just wanted to show you how kind of they look like, how they're different, and then go over that. And I wanted to stress this one out just because it is imperative with this one that you do know the meanings. But you can work on that. That is something that eventually you'll become very familiar with. I'm learning still, obviously. You're always learning, and so I don't feel as extremely comfortable to use this one. I've had it for quite a while now, so just know that it doesn't mean that you can't have your decks. It just means that you might not be completely bonded with them until you can actually use them. One trick that I wanted to talk to you about is, I'm sure most of you already do it, but every day, just, shuffle your cards, pick one out, do your tarot journaling, but basically look at the card, find a meaning if you want to. If not, just look at the card, see how it makes you feel. Then at the end of the day, revisit the card again, reflect on how the day went, because there is a lesson in every day. So reflect on how the day went and see the meaning of the card, and see if it matched up with kind of what you went through in the day, and write it in the journal, because that will help you both memorize the card and get a feeling for the energy of the cards as well. That is all that I have for you today. I don't know if you guys have any questions or anything, let me know. I'm not sure. You don't have to have as many decks. I love my decks, obviously, and sometimes I feel like I use one a lot and then I stop using it, and then I use another one and then I stop using it. So it's kind of how you like the energy, you vibe with them. I always try to cleanse them either with Reiki, crystals, or just with smudging, or just clearing your energy as a whole. So just know that you don't need to have crystals, you don't need to know Reiki, you don't need to know anything. Just your intentions are what sets the energy clearing. Okay, same with this. Like I said, these are bandanas. I bought them off of Amazon. You don't have to have a specific space where you have to read tarot. You can read it anywhere. Just remember, cards, everything, we pick up energy. So remember to cleanse your cards. Just have the intention in your mind, and know that you can clean them that way. You don't have to have an altar like most people do. You don't have to have anything. You just need a set of cards, and they can be cheap. These ones, I apologize, they are knockoffs, I'm sure, but I got them off of Amazon for like $11. I keep my cards because I don't like to have the boxes. I keep them in little pouches that I bought. You can just get like anything. You can put them in little baggie, like Ziploc baggies or anything like that too. You don't have to be anything special. That's the beauty of tarot. It's just about your intention and how you use it. The other thing I want to talk about is, don't expect tarot to predict exactly how everything is gonna go, because it doesn't. It kind of picks up on the energy, and it wants you to have a life. Because otherwise, if you predict everything, you're not gonna have a life. You're not gonna be making choices. So remember that. And then once you start practicing to read on other people, don't give them predictions. That's my biggest suggestion. Don't give predictions, and don't tell them this is going to happen, because it all depends on energy. We have free will, so it all depends on the current energy and the energy that's going to have that's around them. I also don't like to talk about other people when I'm doing tarot, So normally if I'm reading for someone, which I do for free in my webpage, in my Facebook page, it's Moonlight Harmony. So you can always visit there if you want a free reading. But I don't ask me about the energy of someone else, because that is pretty invasive for me, especially because I'm a nurse and I'm also a Reiki practitioner. So I would never do anything to anyone else. Like, that's a violation of their rights. So, you know, if you want the healing tarot read, hit me up. They're free and I will gladly do it. It will basically just read your current energy, tell you kind of what you need to work on. You can ask questions, that is perfectly okay. I will never give you predictions, but I will tell you kind of what you need to maintain or what you need to change in order for you to make your dreams come true, like your manifestation come true, right? So we can work on that if you want. Otherwise, that is all that I have for you. Next time we'll go over the major arcana, and then after that we'll go over each one of the cards of the minor arcana. So if you have any questions or need anything from me, please let me know. Like I said, you can visit my page for a free reading. If you're interested in Reiki, let me know. I also do distance Reiki, so let me know. And you can find that in my page as well. You can find my rates in my page and all that too. And that is Moonlight Harmony, and there's a link below. All right, thank you.